Welcome to Smellbads Gaming. We are here in Fallout 4 and we're building a diesel generator. In another session we built a fusion generator and made it nice and compact and protected and looking pretty good, and you could use it just about in any settlement. But the only problem with that is, well, you need Science 4, which means you need to be about level 41, 40, something like that. Plus that's a lot of points to be putting into it unless you are really interested in having the science perks. So the alternative is you can have your generators scattered all over the place, or you can build a powerhouse, which is what I'm doing now, a diesel powerhouse. And you do that, you basically use a floor piece. That's the double floor piece from the wooden section, the wooden tab. And you just sneak in all of these little 3 power generators, the small generators, and you get them coming together nicely. And we're just rinsing and repeating this. And of course you've got to use the rug glitch for this, because otherwise you just can't get them close enough. It can be a bit fiddly, like this one. You know, there's always one that's a little bit tricky, but once you've got it going, it's fine. And once you've got them in place, you can get rid of those walls. In fact, the walls aren't going to stay there. You're going to end up using different walls if you use this method. And now we just keep on doing this until we have 48 power on that one board. So on that one floor piece you will have 48 power, which is amazing, I think. You would have seen this in the Hangman's Alley build. The tour for that hasn't been finished yet, but if you look at the earlier ones, I think it's called We Have Power, and I'll leave a link down below on that one. And I've used a very similar technique on that build. It didn't need as much power, so I only put what was necessary up. But this one, in total, we will have 96 power, and it's only going to use one of these boards in space, and it will be the equivalent of a normal wall in height, plus the conduit on the roof. And now we just put down another board. No, sorry, what am I talking about? What we want to do is raise this board to the right level, and you don't have to be 100% accurate. It's just enough room so that it's fairly easy to slide another floor piece with the generators on top into the space underneath. But before you do that, you want to put these places in, these concrete walls, posts. And the reason for this is it helps you guide yourself, because you won't be able to see properly when you're sliding everything in. But when these are in their locations, like I'm putting them now, what will happen is the board that you're sliding will turn red if it's not in the right place, and then it will turn green, and you just muck around with it until it is as close as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect, although the more accurate you make these posts, the better, because it makes your job much easier later. And we'll just move it in a little bit. It's looking pretty good. And now it's just building up another board, another floor piece with the generators. And again, this is just rinse and repeat. You move them as close as you can, make sure they're not sticking out over the edge, because that defeats the purpose of having walls later. So I just skipped through until I'd finished this whole piece here, and join them all up. And get rid of those rugs, because, yeah, they'll be in the way. Plus it means that the generators sink into the floor piece, which is quite nice. It means that they look like they're supposed to be there. And before you carry on, as you're about to see, not quite sure what I'm doing there, but you want to take a quick save, because if you mess up the next bit, you can't recover it without restoring a save. And want to be able to position it nicely, so we put in these concrete pillars and a nice rug between it. If you're lucky, that's all you need to do, but it seems that I'm not being too lucky with this one. So stop that, stick another rug down and select that rug, and now you have much more control over what's going on. And position it so you can see it mostly, and as you see it's red, and you just fiddle around until it's sort of not quite touching. And yeah, it takes a bit, but this, if you drop it and you've got it in the wrong place, well, that's when you need to reload your save. And now I'm just pushing it until it turns red and then pulling it back a little bit, and it looks good. And you can take those pillars off now. I put some extra ones in between. You don't need to. I just found it made it a little bit easier. Cool, and as you can see it's not quite perfect, but it's good enough. And now we're going to use the wire glitch. Wasteland Doverkin, who I'll leave a link or a shout out on Twitter to, showed how to do the wire glitch. But basically, instead of selecting the wire, instead of selecting the conduit piece, you select a wire, but it allows you to basically run the wire anywhere. That one didn't work. Now on this it can be quite fiddly because you can't quite get the right angle, but there's always a way, always. So what we're going to do, once I get frustrated enough, yeah, you can't quite get the wires properly, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. So what you do is you have a nice wire that's easy to access, like that, and now you can pull that wire down and duplicate the same thing here. And you don't need all of them connected, it's just so that, you know, if one goes out, chances are it's not going to take all the rest out. Because if one cable, one connection is broken, then all the ones on top, or all the ones on the bottom, won't be usable. So you'll lose 48 power. And now we need a roof. And again, this doesn't have to be perfectly accurate. It will be hidden once we put the walls in, but it can be a bit fiddly. So get it to approximately the right height, and there you go. And now it's just a matter of trying to position it just using visuals rather than, you know, again, you don't need to be perfect because this is all going to be covered up with the junk walls. And here's the first junk wall to go in. And we just want to make it so that it's sort of clipping through. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, because once you've finished it all, you won't notice it. Like, see that top floor is slightly out. If you're really pedantic about it, you could move it, but it won't actually matter because the concrete, the junk walls will pretty much cover it all up. And even from above, if you go on top, you won't be able to see it. It will actually look like it's supposed to be like that. But we need some more room, so as you can see, you can select the whole thing. There's no problem there. Makes it, you know, once you built it, you can position it anywhere you want. And we just keep doing these junk walls using the rug glitch, and where necessary the concrete pillar. And we'll just keep going. This bit is fairly straightforward. If you've seen any of the rug glitch walls and stuff that other people have done, it's exactly the same principle, except that you're building a nice little powerhouse here. And brilliant. Now I have a bit of a problem here with the larger tire ones. And am I using it yet? No, I think I give up. I just could not get the large tires to work, so I gave up and just used the standard junk wall. And now, but this is an important bit. Don't forget to do this because you'll regret it later. You want to put a conduit pole up on top, and again use the wire glitch. As you can see, it can be a bit fiddly. Almost there we go. And that gives us a power cable up to the top when it works. There we go. And again we do it from there up to there. You can do it as many times as you want. I find just having 2 cables is fine. If something does happen to one of the generators, chances are it's not going to happen to both of them. And I got rid of that large concrete, not concrete, what is it with the concrete? The large junk tyre, the junk, blah blah blah. I'll get the words out eventually. The junk wall with the large tyres, because I just couldn't for some reason get it to work this time. But it just for adding a little bit of different textures to the walls. But then again, if you were building something like this, you know, let's say you are the settlers and you're building something like this, you would probably actually build it exactly like this with the consistency all around. And there you go, we're pretty much done. Unfortunately, and as you can see, we can select the whole thing. Not quite sure why I moved that again. I've forgotten why I did that. There would have been a reason. Something was out of alignment when I checked it. And I must have just edited that out. Now this did take a lot of editing, I have to say. A few things went wrong during it, and I had to repeat it a couple of times and so on. And I had 2 recordings, one after the other, and I couldn't remember which one I intended to use. But that's the problem with building stuff like this, is sometimes it doesn't quite go to plan. And there we are. So, daylight so that I can show it off. And here we go. Oh, I just noticed that there's some of the generators poking through. The way you would fix that is to just take that wall out and reposition it a little bit. Not a major. And now that is 96 power. This generator, and I'll build 2 of them, as you can see, takes up 2 of these take up about the same amount of space. Maybe not quite so high, but that only provides 10 power. These medium ones, 2 of them provide 10 power. That thing provides 96 power. And here's the large generator, which only provides 10 power. And it's even bigger. So, space-wise, it is very efficient. And it works out probably about the same amount of materials overall, I imagine. I haven't actually checked that. I'm probably talking through a hole in my head. But yeah. So, if you've enjoyed this little diesel generator room that I've built, do hit that like, hit that subscribe, and make sure you share it with your friends. This has been Smellbads Gaming. Thank you very much.